Would you approve the name being changed back to the Redskins if it meant that all the Epstein documents got released tomorrow?
All right, fine. Like, okay, probably. If it meant
Okay.
all the Epstein documents, that's how Congress works. They put in something to disagree with to get a deal.
Welcome back to Macrodosing. It is Thursday. It's July 24th. Today we have an interview with a sitting United States Congressperson, Ro Khanna, Democrat from California. This will be the second Congressperson that we have on Macrodosing in the history of the show. The first being George Santos.
We have a 100% prison rate.
Conviction rate.
So far.
Yeah, we're better than the feds.
So watch out.
So watch out, Ro. I think that's our policy, right? If you're a sitting United States Congressperson, we can talk to you. Lauren Boebert, hit the hip, sells good. Big show of Macrodosing coming today. A lot to get to before we talk to Congressman Ro Khanna. Big T, where do you want to start today? I've got a couple things just off the top of my head. Can we start with maybe a big list that just came out recently this morning? I feel like maybe I'd like to address it for just a second. Time Magazine put out their list of the 100 best and most influential podcasts in the history of the medium.
Really?
They did.
I did not see this.
There were a couple sports programs on that list. Call Her Daddy was on that list. I guess it's about balls too, but there were some sports programs on there. The Tennis Show. The Tennis Podcast, I think that's the official name of it. That's the Christian name. The Tennis Podcast was on that list. Pablo Torre finds out. I like Pablo. He does a great job.
What's the Tennis Podcast?
What do you think that one's about, Arian? I'll give you two guesses.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, is it like a famous tennis podcast? Is that?
It's about love. That's a tennis joke.
I was about to say that's pretty witty by them if that was the case.
You can find it on the net. I can keep going. I got tennis puns coming out my dick hole, but it's an interesting list. A couple notable omissions. They did not have politicking with Marshawn Lynch, Gavin Newsom, and Marshawn Lynch's agent, who's been friends with Gavin Newsom for years.
Did that ever come out?
I don't know.
I saw it being advertised, but I never saw like an episode or a clip or anything.
Now Gavin Newsom does the other podcast. I don't know if politicking ever made the light of day, but he does the other podcast that he like talks to people who don't agree with him on.
Yeah, he realized that it's way easier to just go on other people's shows that have podcasts already than it would be to make your own podcast from the ground up, which is, I guess, pretty smart. But no, I don't know if that ever came out. I just remember Schefter used to tweet about it a bunch, and he'd say, like, they've been working on the concept of the podcast for the last 6 months. And if you're working on the concept of a podcast for 6 months, that I can tell you right now, that's not going to work.
So there are a couple episodes. There was like 10, and one of them is literally called Macrodosing.
Are you serious?
Macrodosing with Chelsea Handler.
Shut the fuck up.
I swear.
That feels personal. That feels very personal, Gavin.
Wait. Time out.
Gavin, come on Macrodosing to defend yourself, bitch.
Yeah.
And I know that you won't come strapped either because you didn't carry that gun back to California. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that part at the beginning of Sean Ryan's show where he takes like 5 minutes. He's like, "Well, we like to give out gifts on this podcast, so I got you. Here's a bunch of coffee." Yeah.
I just want you to know I took a look at this list and I'm offended on your behalf.
So yeah, the sports ones on there, 30 for 30. They had some great podcasts on that. Bill Simmons, I would agree with putting him on that list. He's completely changed the game. Men in Blazers,
good show.
I like Roger Bennett a lot. Michael Davies, he was the producer of Barstool Van Talk. People forget.
Really?
Yeah. So good things to say about.
Oh yeah, Jeopardy, right?
Yeah, he does Jeopardy. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? They've got. What else is on there?
New Heights, which feels like recency bias.
I like the Kelsey brothers. I think they're very good at what they're doing. I think that they've done a great job showing players how to get into podcasting. Do it while you're still playing. Strike while the iron's hot. They've got great chemistry. Obviously, they're interesting people. It was a massive, massive aid to them that Travis was dating literally the most famous woman in the entire world with a rabid fan base. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they wouldn't be successful without that, because I think they would be very successful. But like, for it to be the peak of podcasting in 2025, you have to at least acknowledge the fact that you brought on billions of potential listeners via the relationship that one of you was in.
Nepo podcaster, Nepo boyfriend.
Yeah, Nepo boyfriend.
And then Pablo Torre finds out, and the tennis podcast.
The tennis podcast is, I can't even be mad. And I think me and Big Cat are probably thinking the same way, and Hank too. Like, our feelings are never hurt about not being put on any of these lists. It's a game. And when we don't win an iHeartRadio podcast award for the 10th consecutive year, like, we get it. If we got upset about all this stuff, it would absolutely consume us. So we don't really care, but it is funny that they put the tennis podcast on the list.
The little blurb it has about it literally almost just says they cover tennis. Hosted by British sports reporters David Law, Catherine Whitaker, and Matt Roberts, the weekly podcast breaks down tournament results.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
It's a great podcast.
That's insane.
I mean, that's the exact information that you want out of a tennis podcast.
They up their game during the majors, dropping daily episodes to chronicle every bit of on and off court drama.
Wow.
I will also say this list has Amy Poehler's podcast on it, which I love. Mm-hmm. It did only start about 3 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I believe it definitely started in this calendar year. I believe it started in March.
If you look at a list of celebrity podcasts that have commenced and ended within 6 months, that list it's probably like 95% of celebrity podcasts. They show up and then they realize it's maybe more work than they thought it'd be. They realize they don't have any more stories, and then they just kind of go on to the next thing. She is very talented, so I'm sure that she'll be fine.
I love the podcast. I fear there's a bit of recency bias involved with
maybe,
it.
Did they put Meghan Markle on there? Oh, God, I hope they put Meghan
didn't.
Markle's podcast on there.
They didn't.
Did they put Jay Mariotti's national sports podcast on there?
Who's that?
Oh, you don't know Jay Mariotti? I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you.
Used to be one of the greats.
Still is. Him and Woody Page had some great debates back in the day.
Woody Page, University of Tennessee.
Isn't he the one from the what's the show that just got canceled with the
Around
points?
the Horn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jay used to be on that show. He was a longtime Chicago sports writer, and he was on Around the Horn. Him and Woody had some great debates. Jay may have not been the most cool guy to hang out with.
It says here, I'm looking him up. It said Jay Mariotti thinks canceled Around the Horn went woke.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Cool, Jay.
Is that his vibe?
Jay's like 3 years late on all his takes, but he's just a dickhead.
Oh, okay.
I always thought he leaned more to the left than he did to the right, but he was just always a dickhead, and nobody liked him. But yeah, he had a podcast that I think I was the only listener to for about 6 months.
Was it called Unmuted?
Yes, it was. Unmuted. Because on Around the Horn, you would get muted if you said something that Tony Reali didn't like. And so this was Jay Unfiltered. It was a national sports podcast. They covered national sports. And it was actually worldwide.
I looked up images of Jay Mariotti to figure out what he looks like, and one of the top images is a Notes app announcement from 2016 from podcast snub, Pardon My Take, saying that he is going to be the senior correspondent of PMT in Iceland.
Yeah, I forget what that was about. We named him senior Icelandic news correspondent. Yeah. And he never really replied to that. He would have interesting late night Twitter habits where he would log on at like 1 a.m. and then fire off a bunch of nonsense and then delete it right afterwards. Like I think one time he just tweeted, "Who is Big Cat and PFT commentator?" and then deleted it like 5 minutes later. You can draw your own conclusions of what activities he might have been up to that made him log on late at night, tweet, and then immediately delete everything. But yeah, so the bottom line is it's a very funny list. I quote tweeted it with Time Magazine naming Hitler their man of the year in 1939 or whatever. And I'm fully aware that they did not do that because they liked Hitler. He was just the most influential person in that year, better or for worse. But it's a running commentary on how Time Magazine tends to fare with lists.
I just realized I didn't see that because I have Time muted.
You muted Time?
Yeah. Let's see how many. I have a lot of accounts muted, dude.
I know. Is it hundreds?
No, it was hundreds in 2013. I'm gonna guess 5,000. I'm trying to find it.
What?
It's probably more, honestly.
That's a lot.
Where's this under?
That's so many. You mute. Do you mute a new account every day?
Not every day, several a week.
What's your most recent muted?
I'm trying to find them.
How many people?
Here we go.
Okay.
Muted accounts. Oh, it doesn't give me the number on desktop. Hang on.
Does it tell you you're most recently muted?
I don't think these are in order because a lot of these are from a long time ago.
Do you know how many of your coworkers you have muted?
Almost all.
Am I muted?
No, you're not.
Is Arian muted?
Yeah. But I keep the timeline tight.
I imagine it would be, yeah. Do you have Mad Dog muted?
Yeah.
Do you have McKinsey muted?
Yes. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Okay, muted accounts. Wow, I damn near nailed it. You want to take a guess?
Why do you mute people you follow?
Because it's like a status thing now. Like if you don't follow somebody, they get upset about it.
I would not lose an ounce of sleep.
But I mean, I follow. How many people do I follow on Twitter? 507. I don't care what a fraction of 500 people say.
So why do you follow?
Because it's like it's a respect thing. It's a dap. It's an internet dap up, like respect. But
I think that's young thinking.
It is for sure. Yeah. But like I want to follow you, but I don't need to see every thought you have. 5,200 muted accounts.
That's so many. That's way more than you follow.
Since you even on that motherfucker.
And the most recent is Christian Maxwell for Congress, who I followed. I don't know who this woman is. Oh, she's running for Congress here, and she's a Republican. So I followed her, but I don't want to see her tweets.
So you wanted to like just show her that you had support.
Yeah, respect.
So pretty much anytime somebody retweets an account, like if you follow someone, if you follow me, I retweet an account, you make a snap judgment like, do I ever want to see that retweeted account's tweets ever again?
Oh, no. You want to know another hack?
Yeah.
I have retweets turned off for almost everyone.
Really?
So when you retweet somebody, I don't see that either because I don't care about the randos you're retweeting.
Okay. All right.
Now, if you quote tweet someone, I see that.
But not the retweets themselves.
Correct.
That's how you learn how to follow people, though.
No, but if someone just tweets you like, I love Pardon My Take, and you retweet them, I don't want to see that.
I do that all the time.
Right, which is why I turn them off.
Yeah.
But if you quote someone I have muted, I don't see it, and I have Time Magazine muted, so that's why I didn't see that one.
Arian, I want to ask you a question.
Shoot.
So, Barstool just got a show on FS1 that's going to run Mondays through Fridays. I believe it's 7 to 9, 8 to 10, maybe one of those two.
You should start with the whole thing because he doesn't know any of this.
Yeah. So FS1, Fox Sports have entered a partnership with Barstool. Dave is going to be on their Big Noon kickoff, and it's going to be like him, I guess, Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Brady Quinn.
Is Joel Klatt on Big Noon?
Yeah, Joel Klatt would be on there, I think. And in addition to that, we're doing a TV show that's going to go 7 to 9 Central. I think it's 7 to 9 Central, Mondays through Fridays. And I'm going to be doing one of the days. Not sure exactly which day of the week just yet. We've got some ideas, but nothing solidified yet.
When you say I'm going to be doing the show, what does that mean?
I'm going to be on a TV show.
Okay. What is like, is it yours? Like you operating your own, or are you just like on somebody else's program?
It's going to be a Barstool Sports program run out of this Chicago office. And I'm not going to be the host of it. But
that's what I was. Yeah, okay.
But I am going to be doing appearances once a week. I don't want to say what day of the week yet because I'm not totally sure. Would you have any interest in coming on to talk about football, coming up to Chicago occasionally when you're in town?
Yeah, I'll pull up. Yeah.
Be on the show?
Yeah. I don't have much interesting things to say about football, though.
Okay, well, this is a great sales pitch for you being on television to talk about football.
We talk about Brewers, baseball.
We could talk some baseball. Yeah.
Fox contributor Arian Foster.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So there's some local Brewers radio guy that reached out to me, asked me if I wanted to come on to talk baseball. I'm going to absolutely do that.
I would love
Please
to
let us know when that is because I want to listen.
I'm going to do that, yeah.
I think we're going to get Big T in the mix to talk some college football occasionally and just kick the hornet's nest of the SEC every now and again. And then there's some other people that I've had some conversations. You might see Jersey Jerry pop up from time to time. Might see some other people around the office. But it's going to be fun. I look forward to getting back on TV, hopefully for more than 1 week this time. Although Memes did bring up a good point when we brought Vandy Woodhead back into the office. It was on the day that the new TV show got announced, and we brought the van from Van Talk back and got it running for the first time since, the ESPN days. He asked me if that was a good sign or not. I told him to shut the fuck up. Also today we're going to be talking about the MLK Files being released, declassified, some other stuff on Big T's list that he sent over. This is very interesting. So I've heard more and more about this recently. There was a congressional hearing on it not too long ago. There have been more news stories regarding organ transplants. Are you an organ donor, Big T?
No, for this reason.
Arian, are you?
I am.
Mad Dog McKenzie?
Yes. Yeah.
They're going to kill you.
I am an organ donor. I believe it might even be in my Twitter bio. It's on my golf balls.
It is in your Twitter bio.
Yeah, organ donor, not to brag. Apparently, there have been more than one incident that's taken place where they start licking their chops when you're about to die. They think that you're about to die, and they might not do everything that they can all the time to save your life if you're an organ donor and they want your organs because they got to cut into you within a very short period of time after you die to get the organs out to make them viable. Then they have to transport them immediately. But there's a story in the New York Times today about there was a lady in New Mexico. She was subjected to days of preparation for a donation after family said that she seemed to be regaining consciousness, which she eventually did. In Florida, a man cried and bit on his breathing tube, but was still withdrawn from life support. In West Virginia, doctors were appalled when coordinators asked a paralyzed man coming off sedatives in an operating room for consent to remove his organs.
I think there were 28 instances where people were either basically killed or just by the skin of their teeth escaped it, and they were going to take their organs out.
Yeah, so I think it's a tough situation for doctors to be in because they know that somebody dying could save somebody else's life. And if it looks like it's 95% chance that the person's going to die, you start to have the conversations and make the preparations because time's of the essence. After this person dies, we got to cut this shit out and give it to somebody that needs it. And the reality is, if there's 95% chance of somebody dying, that means that 5% of the time they're going to come back to life. And you need to be thinking about that outcome.
Listen to this. The Times found that some organ procurement organizations, the nonprofits in each state that have federal contracts to coordinate transplants, are aggressively pursuing circulatory death donors and pushing families and doctors towards surgery. Hospitals are responsible for patients up to the moment of death, but some are allowing procurement organizations to influence treatment decisions.
That should not be the case. They should not allow procurement organizations, meaning the nonprofits that arrange for the transportation of kidneys or livers. They should not be influencing treatment decisions at all. They should not be part of the conversation. They should be the only part of the conversation they should be in is, hey, we've got a spleen and it's ready to go. We got a heart ready to go. Is there a way that you can be an organ donor, but it's only for stuff that doesn't matter how long you've been dead for? Like my ears?
I don't know.
Like
Are your ears an organ?
but you can donate like body parts, not necessarily like organs. There's other stuff that they can take off your body.
Like a finger?
I don't know if they can do like a finger. But I don't know. I think I'm going to stay an organ donor, but for the record, just let me die before you cut my heart out, please. That should be an additional box that you can check. Like, seriously, make sure that I'm dead.
Seriously, dude.
Yeah. Aaron, you are?
Yeah, man.
You're going to remain an organ donor?
Yeah, man. If there was some big conspiracy, like, and you said it was 28 over how long? 28.
I'm not sure. Those are just the ones the New York Times had. However long they've been doing this story.
Shitty business. Funny, and not all of them died. Shitty business. It's just not a profitable business. I think it's just. I think shit happens. I think, in a country of 330 million people, you're gonna have some, like, I don't know, is he dead or not? We gotta make a decision. There can be some, mismanagements here and there. That's people. I don't think there's some big black market by the doctors trying to harvest organs.
Okay, so here's the study from the Department of Health and Human Services. HRSA examined 351 cases where organ donation was authorized but ultimately not completed. It found 103 cases, which is 29%, showed concerning features, including 73 patients with neurological signs incompatible with organ donation. At least 28 patients may not have been deceased at the time organ procurement was initiated. And evidence pointed to poor neurological assessments, lack of coordination with medical teams, questionable consent practices, and misclassification of causes of death.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds normal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the doctors aren't always going to get it right when they think that you're about to die. They have to start making preparations for this heart needs to be extracted within X hours of death. It needs to be put in a cooler, transported.
So
but I don't like the idea that they're standing over you, licking their chops, like, yeah, I can't wait to get this guy's heart.
It wouldn't even make any sense if that was the case, because they're doing like all this deceitful practices to go save lives. It doesn't make any fucking sense, because they're not profiting off of it. Like the doctors.
The third party companies are.
Well, they can, yeah.
Like
but again, if there's only 29 of them, this is not a very
no. That the 28 were the ones who may not have been deceased at the time that the organ procurement was initiated. 103 of the 351, which is 29%, showed concerning features.
I would have to dig into that terminology, but again, it's just not a very good business model. I don't think that's a very good business model. Like, how much? I don't know. There's too many questions floating. How much is one organ? What kind of organ? Is it a heart? Is it liver? Is it lung? Or what kind of organs are we talking about?
I think it's just any and all the above.
I mean, I think it's going to be those, because if you have to be dead for them to take it, it's not a kidney.
Yeah, but I think they still have to wait until you're dead to take your kidney. Otherwise, you have to, like, that would be something that you would need to consent to.
Right, but I'm saying the ones that you die for, I guess they can use a kidney after you die, but generally they're using the important ones.
Yeah,
for that.
Kidneys, liver, heart, not brain yet.
Send the study. I want to look at it.
Before we get back to more macrodosing, it's brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like getting to a baseball game, especially at the last minute. Lucky for me, I always use Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes getting tickets faster. It makes it easier, too. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. They even get exclusive zone deals. You let them choose your seats within a given set of zones. You get huge savings in return. You put those savings back in your pocket. Spend them at the ballpark. Get a hot dog. Get a new hat. Get a beer. Get some Cracker Jack. If you're in Chicago, you can get 10% off zone deals for the Cubs at home on Sunday, August 3rd, against the Orioles. Look up zones 29 through 32 on the Game Time app. Big T, what are you seeing for prices to get into that game?
$168 to get in those sections right there. First section's closest to the field, right behind first base.
Beautiful.
Yep.
What better place to watch a ball game? Wrigley Field, nothing better. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code MACRO, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code MACRO, $20 off. Download the app today. What time is it? Game Time. Also, some great journalism. More of the Channel 5 video came out from the interview with Hunter Biden since we did the show on Tuesday. Him breaking down the difference between crack and crack cocaine was a great moment. Neil deGrasse Tyson-like. Passionate. The man is passionate about his crack cocaine.
Made a lot of good points too.
Go on.
He was like, is it more dangerous than alcohol? Maybe.
That's a great
He's
point.
implying alcohol might be a little bit more dangerous than crack. He may got a point. I don't know.
If they sold crack in every 7-Eleven, do you think that would be a bigger danger, public health risk than?
Well, they don't sell pure alcohol. You know, you dilute it. You put some flavor in it. You make it different. It's not pure straight alcohol that you're drinking. It's not.
You could buy Everclear. Almost pure.
That is true.
Jersey Jerry was telling me, I didn't know this, the high from crack, he said, lasts 45 seconds to a minute.
You get really high, though.
That's crazy. I did not know it was that short.
It's got to be a great 45 seconds.
It must be.
You try it twice, and then you just spend the rest of your life thinking, how can I get that 45 seconds back? Everything revolves around it. It must be great. It must be the best 45 seconds.
Amazing.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the other interviews? Hunter's doing a little media tour.
What's his goal? I'm unsure of his goal. What is he?
I think
clear his name because it's not.
I think clear the family name because he's also running a lot of interference for his dad, and he's talking about George Clooney, how George Clooney stabbed him in the back, how Biden was on Ambien when he did that bad debate. Maybe don't give an 80-year-old guy Ambien before he goes on national television.
Do you believe that's true, by the way?
I believe that a lot of older people do take Ambien to help them sleep. So,
but there's no chance they would give him Ambien before the most important debate of his life.
I think the way he was describing it was they gave it to him more than a day before the debate.
Oh.
Or like a day before the debate, and it was still in his system.
I mean, I don't think the Ambien was the issue.
I don't think that it was either. But I think he's trying to be a good son because his dad, stuck his neck out there several times for him, pardoned him, and I think that Hunter's just trying to clear the family name. That's my guess, at least. Wait, what? You think he might be running?
I don't know, man.
Hunter versus Don Jr.?
I did see one person. I don't think I bookmarked the tweet, and I should have. Someone said... And I went through the replies, and he was replying to people thinking he was joking, being like, I'm 100% serious, so I have to just take this guy at his word. I wish I had his verbiage, but he was like, Hunter was communicating effectively, like, good ideas, this, that, and the other. He needs to challenge John Fetterman for Senate in Pennsylvania. And the guy said he was serious.
So we got the recovering stroke victim against the recovering crack addict. I mean, I would watch the debates.
Here's the tweet. I know it sounds like a joke, but Hunter Biden is a very competent individual who understands the inner machinations of politics. He'd make a great senator and should consider challenging Fetterman in Pennsylvania if he even runs again. When he talks, he comes across as genuine.
Okay.
I mean, how much worse could it get?
Yeah. Guy likes to party. What can I say?
That's from a guy whose Twitter bio says real liberalism has never been tried.
That's great. That's a great bio. That might be one of my favorite Twitter bios of all time.
He also says Waymo Democrat. What does that mean?
It means he is a fucking shithead.
You just like getting him Waymos?
It means he's a Democrat, but he also loves innovation.
Okay.
A hardcore capitalist Democrat.
Okay.
I think that's what it means.
What does it mean?
I think it just means like he's a big innovation guy that is also a liberal. Like he will make sure that all the robots that steal the truckers' jobs are painted with a rainbow flag during Pride Month. He's gonna have inspiring messages from Hollywood celebrities painted on every bomb that's dropped.
So apparently it's from a New York Times columnist, Thomas Friedman, who coined the phrase Waymo Democrat when he was talking about robo-taxis as a perfect, quote, moonshot project to spur advanced manufacturing in America, end quote. Hence Waymo Democrat.
I mean, I do think that self-driving cars are going to be very, very big. But to like pin your entire political allegiance to a singular AI company is everything that's wrong. Did you see the Jeff Daniels clip?
Yeah. Someone actually texted me, a friend of mine, the other day when we were talking about who, I think Arian asked, like, who would you put up as the quintessential leftist celebrity? And we couldn't really think of one. My buddy texted me Mark Ruffalo, but after seeing this clip, Jeff Daniels is in the running.
I don't think he's leftist.
Jeff Daniels?
No, I think he's a hardcore lib.
What's your distinction there?
I mean, we've had this conversation like
I understand,
a million times.
Someone on the left.
This guy's Kamala is by policy, a liberal. She has some centrist policies as well, but she's not a leftist.
But you understand what I was talking about.
I know what you're saying. She is like the most lib, or Jeff Daniels might be the most lib.
He's in the running.
Him and Jersey Jerry.
Right. Award-winning.
Jeff Daniels said, I still think about Kamala and how I think she would have been a good choice. I don't care what they say because she would have done what Lincoln did. Liz Cheney would have been Secretary of State. That is like the most liberal thing right there. When Mitch started stacking the courts, Republicans can see it coming. The new America is diverse, treats everyone with equality and respect and dignity, kind of like Jesus did. We're ready for that. And Mitch, who is married to a Chinese woman and company, could see it coming. They were going to be the minority, so they just started confirming judges in the Senate.
When he says stacking the courts, by the way, that just means appointing judges like the president's supposed to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that Jeff Daniels has read so much Aaron Sorkin dialogue from when he was on the newsroom that he became the anchor to the newsroom.
I think it's the opening clip of the show, right? The one that everyone loves.
Yeah.
There is a terminology in there that I find it's the worst written piece of dialogue, I think, in any media ever. I believe it's
What about Anaconda when Ice Cube goes, damn, the axe fell out when the anaconda swims
No, because
away.
that sentence makes structural sense. He says, if liberals are so fucking smart, why do they lose so damn always, I believe is the...
Okay.
I actually think he says GD. No one has ever spoken like that in the history of civilization.
No.
It makes no sense.
It's very cutesy. Yeah.
Even if you just flipped the expletives. No, because putting it in front of always still doesn't make sense.
Goddamn, they always lose.
Why do they always fucking lose?
Yeah.
Would make sense.
That would make perfect sense. Why do they always lose? Goddamn.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the worst written piece of dialogue I've ever heard.
It's pretty bad. Did you watch The West Wing?
I keep saying I'm going to watch The West Wing, and I still haven't done it. At some point in the next, we'll call it 5 years, I will watch The West Wing.
It's like a fifth grade teacher's wet dream of what democracy looks like.
Okay.
It's like very pure, working across the aisle, finding common ground. It's I would venture to say it doesn't hold up in today's politics of 2025.
What's wrong with fifth grade teachers, man?
No, they're great. Fifth grade teachers are awesome. I love fifth grade teachers, but I'm saying, like, when they're talking about democracy, like teaching it to kids in like the most flowery possible terms, it's kind of like the idealist version of how the world should work, not how the world does work. I think that's Jeff D-Lo's favorite show.
I think it is as well.
Jeff D-Lo. Damn.
I like how he's a
RIP.
Notre Dame fan, the president.
R.I.P. Macrodosing.
What?
Wait, what?
I'm confused.
We ain't gonna be on a dozen no more.
Oh.
Yeah, well, the show still exists, though. I was
Yo, the show via the dozen.
correct. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
The trivia team.
The trivia.
Listen,
Macro.
Yeah.
I'm having
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to.
I'm having a hell of a time trying to get anybody to come to trivia on Tuesday nights at a bar down the street. When you're in Chicago, I'd love for you to join.
Hey, my baseball knowledge is getting good. I'm starting to look up old cats. I'm learning about, you know what I'm saying? I always knew of Tony Gwynn because he's a San Diego legend, but I've just recently understood how fucking
One of
great
the greatest
Tony
hitters to ever
Gwynn
live.
was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, holy shit, that man was amazing. God, I saw a stat where it's like he faced, I think, with 2 strikes, I think he batted almost 400, or maybe even he did it. Like in 2 seasons, he batted like 400 with 2 strikes.
That's crazy.
That's like an insane fucking stat, dog. Like something crazy like that.
He hit like what did he hit, like 393 one year?
I'm sure.
Yep. And there was, I think there was a year that he was gonna be in the 400, but they had like a stoppage that year, and then the year afterwards he continued, and he would have gotten it, like if they counted those games.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it was amazing, dog.
I think his most impressive stat is his career batting average against Greg Maddux.
Yeah, and it was like that with all like the top 10 pitchers in his era. He was all like 300 plus with all of
He
them.
faced 18 Hall of Fame pitchers during his career, batting .331 against all of them.
That's insane.
The 2024 MLB batting average against all pitchers was .242, and against Maddux and Pedro Martinez, Gwynn hit .415 and .444.
Bruh.
He also struck out like 8 times a year, which now guys
Yeah.
do in 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was another stat I read of his where it like compared him to Shohei Ohtani. I would forever fuck that
Shohei
man's name up.
Ohtani.
Yeah. And it was like, I think within like an 8-year span or 10-year span or something, they had the same amount of strikeouts that I think he had. Like, I think it was either this year or last year combined or something like that. It was something crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his stats right now. The most times he ever struck out in a season was in 1988. He struck out 40 times.
That's wild.
Guys strike out
That's-
250 times a year now.
He had 434 total strikeouts. That was over 20 seasons.
That's unreal.
That's less than his total number of assists in his college basketball career at San Diego State.
He's a great basketball player as well.
And 590 is the all-time record for men's basketball at San Diego State.
That's crazy.
Pretty wild, right?
In 2024, Ellie De La Cruz led the major leagues with 218 strikeouts. And Tony Gwynn struck out 434 times in 20 seasons.
That's great. Hold on. Is there anybody better? Who's better?
In terms of what?
Like efficiency. Like I know home runs.
Right, so
not
he's the best contact hitter that's ever played.
Gotcha.
Obviously,
Okay, 'cause I'm-
there are guys who are better at driving in runs, hitting homers, things like that. But yeah, he's one of the best hitters to ever live for sure.
Jesus, yeah. Shout out to Tony Gwynn. He's still alive, right?
No, he passed away.
Passed?
Yeah, he had
Dang.
mouth cancer.
A while
Damn,
ago,
I
I think like
didn't know this.
not too long after he quit playing.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, no, he died in 2014. So
Wow, he got a long time
So
ago.
Barry Bonds had a 262 average against Greg Maddux, and then Tony Gwynn had a 429 average against Greg Maddux.
yeah,
Wow.
I mean he was a legend.
Almost twice as good against Greg Maddux as the best baseball player of all time, Barry Bonds.
Also, his lowest average in a season was 289, and that was in 1982. That's the only season he didn't hit above 300.
So respect to Tony Gwynn.
R.I.P. my G.
R.I.P. Also in the news today, we've got the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. files that have been released from the FBI, and there's not a whole lot in there. I think people were, Arian, I know that you were very skeptical. I guess apprehensive might be the right word, of the stuff that they would release about Dr. King, including some of the like behind the scenes spying that our own government was doing on him, trying to dig up as much dirt as they could. Now, we haven't been able to go through all the files because there's 240,000 pages related to the assassination.
I've read every single one.
You look. What was your favorite one? What was your favorite page?
I'm never gonna read all that shit.
So
I'm not interested in that.
People forget Trump ran on releasing these way before Epstein was. When did Epstein become a thing?
I mean, there was the Miami Herald report, which happened, I think, in 2015, 2016. Let me look this up.
Trump, when he ran the first time in 2016, was like, we're releasing all the JFK and all the MLK stuff.
Right. But the Epstein thing didn't really catch on, at least among Trump's base, until Epstein allegedly killed himself in prison. And then it became kind of a cause that they got behind. But yeah, there was a Miami Herald report about Epstein I'm looking up the date right now. I've got the article in front of me, but there's no date on it. So, I don't know. Questionable, but I think it was in the mid to late 2010s. So yeah, he released the MLK Files. It's going to take a long time, kind of like the Kennedy Files that were dropped. It's going to take a long time for people to go through, but Tulsi had a big part in that. She said that the documents had the details about the FBI's investigation into the assassination, had internal memos, and then some level of detail about the apprehension of James Earl Ray. So they had stuff that they found when they searched his hotel room. They had a lot of stuff from his past. I didn't really realize what James Earl Ray's whole life story was. So he was like a petty thief, and he got arrested for I believe it was mail fraud, some other federal crime, almost petty crime. He was like stealing people. He was like stealing people's money orders out of their mailbox, and then he got sentenced to prison in Leavenworth, Kansas. He escaped from federal prison. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
He got out in a laundry truck. He hid in that.
Some Shawshank shit, ain't it?
Yeah, and then he went on the road for a while, just trying to evade the authorities. So he was living the life of a drifter for a while, just bouncing from town to town. Went down to Mexico for a while too, and his nickname down there, I think it was Eric something.
Eric something.
Eric something, yeah. But it's
interesting. I know an Eric something.
It was Eric something.
Pretty interesting.
It was Eric. Why can I not find this right now? I think it started with an R. Was the name that he went by. So the records have been sealed.
But he also went by another name other than Eric, right?
He did, yeah.
Right, yeah. So it was Eric, who also had an alias.
No. His name was not Eric. Was the alias
correct? But interchangeable.
That's a big part of the story.
Okay.
That was his real name.
There's a guy with an alias. One of his names he went by was Eric.
One of the two names, yeah. But there's a lot of people that could fit that description.
Sure.
You think
at least two?
You think Eric the Red was actually called Eric the Red?
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Also, off topic, but speaking of escaping jail, that one guy from the New Orleans jail is still on the run. They think they might not find him.
Is his nickname actually who? Or did they give him that nickname after he eluded capture for so long that it became his nickname because nobody's turning him in?
I do not know.
That's because that's a great nickname to get, right? If people are so scared of you or respect you so much that they won't talk about you, that your nickname becomes who?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he's still out there.
That's pretty lit.
That's a great nickname, right?
The Who. Yeah.
That was solid. But he's still out there, so he's one of how many people?
I believe there were 8 or 9, and they caught all of them except him. Which, if you've made it, a couple months now,
you're a ghost.
You might be home free.
Was he one of the guys that did not have facial tattoos?
I saw a picture of him the other day. I don't remember seeing any face tattoos, but I'm not.
Because I think the face tattoos, that's a pretty dead giveaway.
Yeah.
Right?
Giveaway.
So, in January, Trump said that we got to release these classified government documents about Kennedy's. We should also declassify the RFK shooting information and the Martin Luther King Jr. documents. So the Justice Department did not want to release these for the last, 50 years almost. and they fought very hard to keep these hidden secret. You can only get them through FOIA requests. But yeah, they released a whole treasure trove of them. I haven't heard of any real splashes that come from it. The only thing that stood out to me, and we had Mike, a researcher, take a look at some of it, and the one that he pulled up was about his brother. And I'd seen some of the clips about his brother. He had a brother named Jerry Ray. And Jerry told the FBI, or it might have been state law enforcement. I don't think he did it. Nobody else thinks he did it either. And they interviewed all of James Earl Ray's prison mates that were up in Missouri. They interviewed a guy named Raymond Curtis, and he told the FBI that Ray had referred to a bounty on President Kennedy before Kennedy got shot in 1963. And if Ray got out in time and King was still alive, he would like to get the bounty on King. Curtis also said that Ray had an Italian contact who was a big man in a syndicate between Kansas City and Chicago. There was another inmate that was in Marietta, Louis Raymond Dowda, said that he met Ray in Missouri, and he told investigators that he believed Ray had an outside source of money to support a drug habit in jail, and that Ray made several statements to effect, if the price was right, he would kill Martin Luther King. And they also had some women on Memorial Drive that said that they might have seen Ray in the white Mustang when he returned to Atlanta the day after the assassination. So really no evidence of a conspiracy in these documents that we've seen so far. We don't know. We might see more. The only thing that you could point to was that at one point he may have told his cellmate that he would like to get the bounty on MLK. And I'm sure that there were a lot of very powerful people that wanted King to be shot, whether they be businessmen, just normal, rich, ordinary citizens.
Very unpopular.
Very unpopular. The FBI obviously did not like him, and they were trying to ruin his life. But there's nothing in the documents yet that say that they tried to kill him or that they paid anybody to kill him. But we'll stand by on that. But yeah, he was super unpopular in his day. That's the thing that many people don't remember about MLK, is that he was not looked at while he was alive the same way that he's looked at now that he's dead.
Nope. There's a famous these political cartoons used to be really big. And there was a really famous one during his time where very similar rhetoric to all protests nowadays, but it was it was him being interviewed. I think it was something like him being interviewed or something like that. And he said, we're just doing peaceful protests. And there was all kinds of carnage in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Just funny. The rhetoric hasn't changed.
It was 90% disapproval rate or something, wasn't it, on the MLK while he was alive?
I thought it was the poll that I think it was a Gallup poll that I saw was I think it was he had a 33%.
Okay, so it might have been a little bit off from what I said, but yeah, he was not liked by the majority of America for sure.
White America,
and yeah. he was engaged in a lot of I guess you could call them socialist activities. Then I think he was in Memphis because there was the sanitation workers strike that he was there to support. And obviously with the Cold War going on at the time, it was if you were engaged in socialist activities, you were put on a whole lot of lists. And he was definitely on those lists under surveillance. There was a guy named Lloyd Jowers. And Lloyd Jowers was a Memphis tavern owner. And he claimed that he knew about a conspiracy to take out King. They had a trial for him in 1999, and a Memphis jury found Jowers and unnamed others, including government agencies, participated in a conspiracy to assassinate King. He also linked Memphis police and a man named Raul, the same person that James Earl Ray claims set him up to take the fall for the assassination. Jowers died in the year 2000. So, there was a civil trial that found, and the standard of a civil trial is, well, I'm not actually sure what it is in Tennessee. We could probably look it up, but I know that in California, at least, the standard for civil verdicts is like the preponderance of the
I
evidence.
think that's everywhere.
Is that everywhere?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
That's in every state court. So it's like if the jury believes that 51% you're liable for this, then they rule against you, as opposed to in like federal court and most criminal cases where it's just you have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt.
By the way, I've asked several lawyers this question, and I get very different answers. What do you think when you hear beyond a reasonable doubt? If you had to assign a number to that, like you're X percentage sure this person's guilty, what number is that?
I would say like 90, 95.
I think that's pretty fair. I've heard as low as like 75.
That's
I think
a little
that's
bit
crazy.
low. That's a little bit low. Like 1 in 4 chance that you didn't
Yeah.
do that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope I'm never on a jury. Can I tell you guys something? Don't put this out there. We're not doing a podcast or anything, right?
Mm-mm.
I had a jury summons in New York. I just kind of forgot about it for a while.
I'm pretty sure you can just not go and nothing happens.
That's kind of what I did.
yeah.
I hope that's
I
okay.
want to be on a. I definitely want to be on a jury.
That's a lot of
If you tell them that, they'll tell you to leave.
yeah,
I know it is what it is.
it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, of course, but I would take it very seriously because I don't believe in a jury or your peers' justice. I think that is horrible.
So you would be very unlikely to convict in the eyes of a prosecutor.
It depends on the case. I don't know.
Like you would have to be 110%.
It just depends on the case. I don't know. Like if we're talking about like some civil crime or something like that, probably not. But if we're talking like murder, yeah, I'm like I would have to like that's an insane amount of, like you said, it's an insane amount of pressure
Yeah.
that I would want.
Like you would be responsible for sending somebody to jail for the rest of their life.
Or letting a killer go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want that.
So MLK's family was not real pleased about the documents being released. They saw it as being a distraction. They also saw it as being a lot of information that would get put out there that might not be flattering about their family member. And so they weren't super excited about the prospect of people sifting through FBI wiretaps and hearing King's like intimate conversations, sometimes outside of his marriage. They didn't want that to get drug up and rehashed, which I understand as a family member.
Yeah, and also, just we forget they're still alive. Like,
Yeah,
his kids are still alive, and like we kind of like it's American lore in our eyes. It's just MLK, you know what it can be like. But you would like these records are like the assassination files, right? So like it's almost having to relive a traumatic event. Like if anybody who's have a parent that died understands how traumatizing that is, but to have the entire nation talking about your parent passing, that I couldn't imagine that. That's a lot of pain.
yeah, ton of pain. And his niece wrote an op-ed for Fox News, and his niece was excited about it. She said, Trump releasing the MLK Jr. files is a victory for truth and accountability. This is not a symbolic gesture, nor is it a political stunt. It's leadership. The newly released files include detailed FBI field office reports from across the nation. For the first time, the public can read uncensored correspondence between agencies and Congress, revealing how bureaucrats delayed or concealed information that the American people had a right to know. President Trump did not cave to pressure from the intelligence community or permanent Washington. He stood with the people. He upheld the principle that government must be accountable to those it serves. His decision to override long-standing objections and release these documents fulfills a promise that generations of Americans have waited to see, and his administration made all that possible. I do agree that it's a good move, truly. We should get all this old shit out there. Like what type of national security secrets are we keeping from the 1960s that we can't release right now?
Is there anything of any significance? Did this change our opinion about anything? Did this?
Well, we don't know.
I don't.
We don't know because number one, there's so much stuff that has to be released. Number two, the people that are super familiar with all the ins and outs and details of the case and the assassination they a lot of times are no longer with us. And if they are, they might be on the older side. If they remember investigating this and working on this situation for the last like 50 years, they probably aren't that young. And so it's just like historians that have kind of kept it up that are going to have to go through it. And a lot of the files they're fucked up because they've just been kept in like paper and ink for the last, several decades. So sometimes they're starting to fall apart. You can't read some of the handwriting anymore because it's all faded. So you have to go through a lot of it, and some of it's not even going to be usable. But there is potentially some information about what the FBI was talking about internally while it was investigating. And there are people that are king academics, I guess, king historians that want to see exactly what the FBI did in terms of its surveillance. How far did it go? Did it track them every day? What did they plant in the news to make them seem anti-American? Because that gives us an insight as to what the FBI was doing to anybody that they might have disagreed with, and maybe still to this day, their playbook for how they take on people that they deem a threat. But they don't think that there's going to be a smoking gun, and they don't think that they're going to see like 100% evidence that the FBI was involved in the assassination.
Oh, yeah.
But they also said that the Justice Department is releasing 35 pages of documents about Hillary Clinton and her private email server. Which I think that's fine too. I don't have a problem with that. What'd you find?
Yeah, I'm all for the transparency. But I just don't ever think this is ever. Has there ever been a release of any files that has changed public opinion? I believe there has, but it's not. I would say more often than not, it is kind of benign.
I would say that when the NFL released more of the details about their investigation into Tom Brady, it made me more likely to believe that Tom Brady, number one, probably did that shit, but also at the same time, number two, probably the footballs weren't as deflated as Tom Brady would have liked. Like, not that much to make a difference.
I remember when that was going on. I was laughing at that shit.
I think the answer to your question is definitely yes, but never if it was released by the government. Like the Pentagon Papers come out.
Yeah.
Those drastically shift public opinion, but the government didn't want those released.
Yeah, they had to be, I don't want to say the word stolen, because it was a good thing that the journalists did, that were leaked to them.
Yeah.
Leaked papers can have a huge impact, but voluntarily released, I don't think the government's going to be like, here's all the bad stuff that we did.
Right.
Go at it. Also, if there was something in there that was a smoking gun that the FBI directed James Earl Ray to assassinate MLK, do you really think that those papers would stay around in the FBI? You think that they would just release that and turn that over? No, they'd be like, okay, here's all the documents, and then they just give you the documents that didn't have that part.
Snowden, same thing.
Yeah, Snowden. Snowden was, man, that was fascinating.
Yeah. COINTELPRO as well, but again, that wasn't really released.
Yeah, COINTEL, MK Ultra, and we know that MK Ultra had 60-70% of the documents were destroyed illegally before they released it.
So why do they even keep these files if they know that's going to expose them?
I guess because it's illegal to destroy them.
That's weird as shit, though, right? Like me doing a crime and then just keeping all the evidence. I guess that happens a lot.
I've been getting more into Blue Anon stuff recently because it's fascinating. There's a new theory out there, Big T. Have you heard this one? That all the bad documents related to Epstein, linking him with Trump, are buried at Trump's golf course with his ex-wife, Ivanka.
Wow.
Or Ivana, excuse me.
She's buried at a Trump golf course?
Yeah. He had her buried at Bedminster.
Really?
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Did she want that?
Unclear. That part's who's to say?
Do we know like where on the course it is?
Yeah.
Does she have like a headstone?
Yeah, you gave her a headstone.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Let me look into
You didn't know that?
Can you move your ball if it hits it?
No, there's a nice little tiny rake that's above it, so you can, if your ball
Yeah.
lands, you can.
Is that a natural made?
Yeah, Mac, you get free relief for that.
So it's not red stakes around it, white stakes, white stakes around Trump stakes.
Trump stakes.
Yeah, you didn't know that, Big T?
This is the first I'm hearing of this. I'm trying to
Yeah, he
find.
definitely buried her.
He buried her at his golf.
I think he did it for like I think it was for like tax purposes or something. Wasn't
Some
it?
people thought it might be for tax purposes because you could reclassify it as a resting place.
There's a reason why. I can't remember why. Hold on.
A hilarious move, like obviously very shady if that was not her wishes and not a good thing to do. But like in terms of trying to save money through hook or by crook, that's one of the funnier moves that you could possibly do.
A source told the Post the New York City icon was buried, quote, not too far from the main clubhouse.
Okay,
All right, yeah.
so you can go visit, pay your respects if you ever get invited there. But yeah, one of the theories is that the Blue Anon people are saying that the Epstein files are in her casket.
When you say Blue Anon, what is that?
It's just an all-encompassing name for libs that are into deep conspiracies involving Donald Trump,
Okay,
like how the QAnon people
sure.
are saying that there's like celebrities and Democratic operatives that kill babies and drink their blood, and that they're all going to be arrested next week.
Well, not if the files never come out.
Well, no, it's been next week since like 2017.
No, I know, but
2016.
maybe they would be if we released the files.
Yeah, the Pizzagate people. It's like Pizzagate, but for Dems.
Got it.
Whatever happened to the lib fascination with Robert Mueller? Speaking of FBI directors, I guess after he came out with the Russia report, they jumped ship pretty quick.
Yeah.
They had a fascination with him for a long time. I think one of the Krasensteins put out a kid's book about Robert Mueller, and they made him like jacked up and shirtless. Look that one up, Big T. I might have to make
That sounds like something they do.
a full-size printout for you. You can keep it. What else we got to get into today, guys? We do have an interview with Congressman Ro Khanna from California coming up in a little bit. He's going to talk about the Epstein files because he's got a bipartisan thing going on. So it's Dems and Republicans are trying to force the release of all the Epstein files, which might have hit a little stumbling block.
Do you want to talk about Netanyahu?
Oh, yeah, on Nelk Boys?
Yeah.
That was an awesome interview.
I didn't see what happened.
The Nelk Boys had Benjamin Netanyahu on the pod.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't see this?
I did not.
Oh,
see
I
it.
sent some clips the other day. So they had Netanyahu on, and then they were getting a ton of pushback. So then they had a stream where they basically just let Hassan and Adam Friedland and a bunch of other people come on.
Nick Fuentes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they had Hassan and Nick Fuentes on the same side of something in certain respects, and they just had people come on and berate them basically for having Netanyahu on.
And the whole time they were like, we didn't know.
They're like, we'll have anybody.
We'll have anyone on. They said their dream interview was Kim Jong-un.
Really?
There's a movie.
I would
about
watch that.
yo.
Good
What
movie.
They
the
said
fuck?
they said it would basically be recreating the interview.
Yeah.
They also said they would love to go to Moscow to hang with Putin.
The funniest part of the Nelk Boys thing was when their chat was roasting them, and their chat was like, you basically had Hitler on. And they just looked at the screen and they read that out loud, and they're like, yeah, I can see you're making some good points.
Yeah, they also said to Hassan, like, dog, we just had him on our show because people come on shows to promote stuff. And Hassan responded, people promote books on podcasts, not genocides, usually.
Holy shit.
There is a bit of a difference here.
How did they get that contact? Like, how do you?
So apparently, which I also think is a red flag that we should talk about more, someone from the White House communications team reached out to the Nelk Boys saying that Netanyahu, like they wanted to connect the Nelk Boys and Netanyahu.
He's a big fan.
So it went through the White House.
He loves the prank videos.
Yeah.
Old school. I think it was probably like Netanyahu and his government have seen support, especially amongst young people, for Israel waning substantially in the last year or so. And he was like, how do I talk to that audience? And then Trump's communication guy was like, the Nelk Boys.
Don't I have a program for you?
I've got just the ticket. You're going to love these dudes.
But yeah, so basically the White House communications team connected Netanyahu's team and the Nelk Boys, and that's how they got together. And they said, like, we're not informed on this topic. Therefore, their apology was like, we probably weren't the best people because we couldn't push back on questions because we don't know what he's talking about. And Hassan was like, why do you think he wanted to come on your show?
Yeah.
Because you weren't going to push back. And what's the other one? Steiny?
Yeah.
Did say at one point that Netanyahu liking Burger King more than McDonald's was his, quote, worst take of the day.
That's a bad take. Well, he
Bad
could push
take.
back on that.
He did push back
That
on the
is-
Burger King thing rather than the starving people thing
Yeah.
or whatever else Netanyahu had to say. But they were like, we just wanted to have Netanyahu have a platform to speak, and then other people can form their own
Yeah,
opinion.
I feel like Netanyahu at this point he's trying to get the message out any way that he possibly can because he's under indictment right now by the United Nations
ICC.
and I think by his own government, right?
He is currently a wanted war criminal.
There's something
yes.
that I should be more informed before I talk about this, but there's some part of the Israeli government I think that has indicted him, but he's going to keep doing him.
Yeah. So Nelk Boys had Netanyahu on to platform him,
Yeah.
I guess, because obviously Benjamin Netanyahu does not get enough press.
Yeah, he gets to address Congress.
PFT said he'd have him on.
I would have him on, but that I said that I would have. I said Netanyahu. We have Putin on, Joseph Kony, Roger Goodell. Any of the most those
Is
guys.
Coney still alive?
Coney's still out there.
Remember when that was like a thing?
He is.
Well, some
Coney 20.
People were like,
what was
you have
it?
to sign
12.
this petition at your
2012.
middle school to stop Joseph Coney.
Yeah. He woke up in the morning. He was living such a great life, and nobody was really looking for him. And then one day, it had been like 10 years
Became
since
the number one thing on
the
Facebook.
number 1 years, and everybody was talking about Coney.
Yeah.
What a surreal moment. There was a rumor that he died of COVID,
I do recall that.
but I think we talked about him one time. We did a deep dive into Coney, and we found that he might still be alive. But yeah, Netanyahu come on the pod today. Honestly, like if he reached out, I know it's a long shot possibility, BB, but if he reached out and wanted to come on Macrodosing, I would say yes. But then I would also bring in a hired gun to be in the interview. Not bad choice of words. I would bring in somebody who is super knowledgeable about the situation to just casually sit in on the interview and interject whenever you feel the need to speak up.
Would you bring on recurring guests, Hassan?
I would,
Piker?
yeah, I would bring Hassan on. I would bring probably a few people on.
Can you
Brace?
imagine Brace?
Yeah, Brace and Netanyahu. I think
Brace and BB?
they'd have a lot to talk about.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, Adam Friedland would be like a perfect guy to have on for that.
He was so funny on the Nelk Boys stream. Like, was just in such utter shock at what those boys had done.
He's another guy who, to me, has just spawned very recently.
Adam Friedland?
Where did he come from?
Oh, buddy, Adam Friedland. He was part of the big pod explosion of 2016.
Down.
Okay.
Pardon my take. Cumtown came up at the same time. You know Cumtown. You're not familiar with
This
Cumtown.
is the first I'm hearing of
What
this show.
one of the funniest podcasts that you'll ever hear.
Stavi.
It was Stavi, Adam Friedland, and Nick Mullins.
Okay.
And then since the split, they stopped doing the pod. Stavi went out on his own. He's touring as a comedian. He's acting. He's got his own pod, all sorts of stuff. And then Adam started the Adam Friedland Show with Nick as a writer, producer on the show. And the Adam Friedland Show he might be the best interview that we have in America right now. I'm just going to say it. The interviews that he's done with Chris Cuomo, with Chet Hayes. Chet Hayes interviews are some of my favorites.
He just did one with Sarah Jessica Parker. That was really fun.
Yeah, he did one with Dave. Dave went on the show.
Yeah, Dave went on.
Adam
the show.
called me like a week before Dave was coming on the show, and he was like, I need to know, like, what can I ask him? And Adam just talked to me for about like an hour. No joke. I think it was like about an hour-long phone conversation with him. Just like, he was nervous about the interview, so he kept like throwing stuff out there. And I was like, yeah, ask him about what, like, Dave will talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. And then I listened, and listen, Adam, great interviewer. That particular episode, not one of my favorites, but that's okay. They can't all be bangers. Neil deGrasse Tyson was great, though.
He's waned from public consciousness recently, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not out there very much.
There's only so much you can do to make science sexy. I feel like he's, like, we get it. You love black holes.
Right.
You really love black holes, dude. I think you would fuck a black hole.
You'd have to.
Have to. Yeah.
Would you not?
I don't know that I'd be able to satisfy a black hole.
Sure, but you got to try.
Got to try. We're talking about stars, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
What else do we have to get into? Arian, anything that you're up to right now?
I took my daughter to tennis practice for the first time, and this little fucker is an athlete.
Oh yeah? Did you know that about her?
First time she's 7. Yeah, I knew she was an athlete, but it's dope to see it because we had her in gymnastics, and then so we take her to tennis. She was watching me watch Wimbledon, and what's cuz name? Alcaraz.
Yeah.
Yep, he cold, right? Cold
Yep.
with it. Loved watching him. And so she's like, I want to try tennis. I said, okay, bet. So I set her up with a lesson. Took her out there yesterday. This little fucker starts doing, wow, backhand, pop, top spin. I had her with a little coach out there, and he was like, hey, you need to have her do this. Like, keep on this. He was like super impressed. She threw me. She was over here like really just manipulating the balls. That's impressive.
Did she like it?
Yeah, she loves it. So I signed her up. There's a camp next week, Monday through Thursday. So we're going to do that.
She could listen to
The tennis
Oh, it's a
podcast.
tennis
Tennis
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah. They just gained a listener.
They discuss every tournament.
Every tournament. Sometimes every day during the majors.
Yeah.
Look at God. I needed a new podcast anyway.
Yeah.
Daughter's getting into tennis. Let's look at Jesus working for me.
How was the
Go
cruise?
ahead. Cruise is crazy dope. It's a lot. It's just a lot going on, man. I don't know that I'll do a cruise like that again. I was looking at other cruises that are a little bit more. It's less going on.
Yeah.
There's fucking 8 water slides, bro. There's 100 decks of shit to do.
Do you remember the
Like, I
name
went
of the
to a-
ship you were on?
Yes, it was something of the sea.
They're all something of the seas.
Sorry, man.
Every Royal Caribbean ship is something of the seas.
I don't know.
Find out and get back to me because it sounds like you were on one of the really new ones, which are supposed to be dope.
Yeah, it's the second largest one in the world right now.
Yeah, that's definitely one.
And
Then it's definitely one of the new ones, which I've heard are awesome.
yeah, I mean, it's like what's the most impressive thing is how much they like. It was a tightly run ship. Like they had every aspect of it. Just everything was run so smooth, from the elevator systems to the cleanup crew to the pools to the restaurants. Everything was so well run and organized. To the departure, everybody had departure times, and everything was smooth. There was no. It was an amazing. Like they did an amazing job. But again, a lot of shit going on. So like we booked. There was a hibachi restaurant on there. So literally they had this thing called the deck that we was on was like Central Park, they called it. And so they had like this green area with like real trees,
Okay, I
and
know
they
the
had
ship
like these
you were
little they had these like boutique stores and restaurants, and they had an hibachi. That was just insane. And we went, and like there was like 2 or 3 tables of hibachi chefs. And this is when I was like, all right, dog, like I just need a little bit of me time. Cause like every chef was singing some 80s, 70s pop song. Like it was banging they utensils saying "Don't stop, believe it." The other was going Caroline, oh oh oh, and like every table was singing different pop songs, and it was just like I looked at my daughter. She's like, "Yo, this is a lot." It was just overstimulation.
Yep.
Well, it was overstimulation.
Did you have a
But I mean,
washy guy?
what is a washy guy?
So at the like on the buffets on cruise ships, they always have a guy out front singing songs about washing your hands and like giving you like Germ-X.
No, but they had like this. They had like when you walk in, there were two walls just filled with hand washing stations. Um, I- with signs encouraging you. We didn't have a washy.
The last one I went on, he had a sash. It said Mr. Washy, and he would sing songs about washy. Good guy.
Nope. Yeah, shout out to him. But yeah, even the buffet was amazing. They had this one station where they was cooking real over easy eggs, and they just had them on deck, 20 at a time, just over easy eggs. It's my favorite, one of my favorite foods. I was just amazed at the efficiency of that place. But again, I think the next cruise I'm going, because I will be going on another cruise. Next cruise I'm gonna go on is gonna be a little less. You know what I mean? I don't want a water slide on my next cruise. It's like nice, elegant. I want some steaks, shit like that. Just cool, like an adult vibe.
I think
there's a lot going
I think
on.
Princess is the cruise line you want to look at. I believe those are more like that.
Right. Yeah, just more vibey. Like when I bring my kids, yeah, we're gonna have the water slides, we're gonna have the shit. But what I'm gonna bring a nice lady to a nice private, cool vibe, adult cruise. But it was amazing. And then I get home, dog, and there's this Netflix documentary about how Shorty got kidnapped on one of those cruises.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know. If I'd have saw that, I'd have been a little bit more careful.
What's
'Cause,
that?
Isn't it Amy Bradley is missing?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that.
Eddie
I didn't
Bradley.
know it had to do with a cruise.
Yeah, I think it was Royal Caribbean. And they think she got sex trafficked. Actually, wild. So she got like kidnapped and sex trafficked. She's like 21 years old, which I was like, maybe a little bit too, I don't know, easy on the crew. Cause like, my 15-year-old was like, hey, I'm gonna go down the deck. Some like, yeah, go ahead, man. It's all good. We're on a cruise. Gave them too much freedom.
Now, did they think that she got sex trafficked on the ship, like taken from the ship, or when they were out on a daytime excursion?
Yeah, they have like footage of like there was like a nightclub on the ship, and they have like footage of her being on the ship, and then they got taken off. Like she got taken off of the ship, allegedly.
I've been reading,
and then I guess the family. I didn't watch all of it, but allegedly the family got sent like pictures of her, being trafficked.
Holy
like,
shit!
So, like advertising, yeah. So this is all. It's crazy. I don't know. Don't take my word for it.
I've been reading a lot of man overboard on cruise ship stories. That stuff scares me.
Dog, hey, and they be moving.
Yeah,
like it's not some cool little. Them motherfuckers go, and if you fall off, how do you even alert the captain? Like, yo, about 20 nautical miles back, fam.
There's like a whole drill that you have to practice for man overboard, and they pretty much have to get the lifeboats into the water within, I think, 2 minutes, or else you're completely fucked. Because you become just a tiny little speck in the ocean as the ship steers away from you. And if it's at night, you're double fucked. At night, if you fall off at nighttime, you're probably not ever going to get back on. And then,
that was the scary thing. Is like you look over at night. I was supposed to have like this euphoric, majestic feel. I was just scared shitless because I do not fuck with the ocean.
Yeah,
I do not.
Yeah, you're in there. If you can tread water for how long do you think the average human can tread water?
Ooh, average human, I'd say
45 minutes.
Average human or average American?
Average American cruise customer.
Well, now it's going down significantly.
a bunch of Wallies on there. Some I would say 3 minutes.
No, this is crazy. They say an average person can tread water for 2 to 3 hours.
So I'm seeing 2 to 5 minutes.
Fuck out of here.
But
salt water makes it easier.
Okay.
Because salt water, the buoyancy of the human body in salt water increases, I think. That's why if you go to Great Salt Lake in Utah, you can just float.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but now I'm seeing 2 hours. 2 hours sounds like a long time.
That's a long time.
I think
treading
1.
water, dog.
And that's in still water, probably,
Yeah.
not choppy ocean
But
water.
but I think if your life depends, I mean, shit, you don't have anything else to do. You have
Right.
Got to tread.
There was a story about a fullback from the Miami Dolphins that I think he or maybe it was probably I think just him. He fell overseas on a fishing trip going out towards the Bahamas, and he ended up swimming back to Florida, and he was in the hospital for like weeks afterwards, I think, recovering. But he swam like a super. It wasn't all the way from the Bahamas, obviously, but it was like way out there. They thought he was dead. But yeah, falling into the water, they gotta get those lifeboats in fast. They gotta throw the little life preserver out to you. I think a lot of cruise ships now have sensors on the side that are designed to detect, like, if somebody goes over a railing, it can spot you. But the problem with that is they've got like birds and shit that will fly out there. So if a big bird flies by the sensor, they might just think somebody fell overboard.
Didn't someone go overboard recently?
Yeah, there was a I think little girl that fell overseas because her dad like put her up on the railing to take a picture,
And then the dad
Dipshit.
jumped in.
and then the dad jumped in, grabbed her. They put the lifeboat in, saved both of them, which is kind of a miracle.
What a
but that dad,
Horrifying moment. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't even play. Like, hey, get your ass from the balcony.
yep. Because when you're a kid, you don't understand that shit's dangerous. I remember being a kid and like walking near high cliffs and shit. My mom being like, "Get back now!" But Mom, come on, it's safe. I'm fine.
I used to tell my mom, I'm an athlete. I'll be all right.
Yeah. Before we get to Congressman Ro Khanna, he's brought to you by Part of My Cheesesteak. Part of My Cheesesteak has a brand new combo on its menu, the big one. It's an original classic cheesesteak, your choice of our brownie bites or donut dippers, and a drink, all for a discounted price. Perfect for your game day meal or late night eats. Part of My Cheesesteak offers a wide variety of cheesesteaks, loaded fries, popular desserts, all delivered right to your door. Go to partofmycheesesteak.com. Use code PMC20, get 20% off. Partofmycheesesteak.com, code PMC20, 20% off. And now here is Congressman Ro Khanna. All right, welcome on a very special guest. It's Congressman Ro Khanna from California. He's been in the news recently. I've seen you pop up on a couple cable shows in the last few days. You've been instrumental in pushing for the releases of more of the Epstein files recently. Can you just explain to our listeners and to me, like I'm 4 years old, what you were trying to accomplish with this bill that you introduced, and what has happened to it since you put it out there?
Sure. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein basically was a very rich guy who had a sex trafficking operation. He had underage girls that he connected with rich and powerful men, and he was prosecuted. He ultimately took his own life, and he had an accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who helped him basically rape and get these underage girls to sleep with powerful and rich men. Now there are allegedly hundreds of powerful and rich men who are involved in this. Some of them allegedly are leaders of foreign countries, some of them leaders for politicians in our own country, some of them rich donors who give politicians money. And these names are all in these Epstein files, because when they did the investigation, the Justice Department, they interviewed a lot of people to see who was connected with Jeffrey Epstein, who may have slept with underage girls and been involved with this. That information has never been released to the public. Donald Trump said, I'm going to release it. Under Joe Biden, the courts were slowly releasing things. Trump says, no, I'm going to release it when I'm president. Pam Bondi, the attorney general, says she's going to release it, that there's this client list. He then decides in a U-turn, no, we're not going to release it. There's nothing there. Pam Bondi issues a memo saying that. And that creates outrage. And so I introduced a bill saying we should demand the full release of these Epstein files, protect the victims, don't have any salacious child pornography obviously released, but release the names of people who may have been implicated in the witness memos.
Okay, and so you and Congressman Massey have kind of teamed up to try to expedite this process a little bit. And then you got stonewalled. You got Johnson. He decided, let's go on early vacation, take a break. What is your response to that? Like, how did you feel when you learned that that's what the response was going to be? And then what is your counter move to that?
Well, first of all, it's shocking. I mean, it's like someone saying, okay, like, let's just cut the NFL season short. We're just not going to play the games. I mean, basically, because Johnson knew that Massey and I have the votes and that this thing would pass, he literally is canceling Congress, sending us home early because he does not want this bill to come up for a vote. We have every Democrat on it, but we've got many Republicans on it, not just Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, Tim Burchide, Lauren Boebert. A lot of the prominent MAGA supporters support this. And so what's going to happen now is we get a recess. Only Congress recesses for like 6 weeks. And we come back after Labor Day. And then there's a mechanism where if you get 218 people to sign a petition, you can force a vote, even if Johnson doesn't want to vote. And Massey and I will do that. We'll have the 212 Democrats plus about 11 Republicans, and we'll get a vote early in September. But this is just a delaying technique.
Okay, I saw that Boebert, she signed that petition, right? She said that she's willing to force this to a vote. Was that surprising to you that you had so many Republicans that were willing to work with you on this?
It really was. You know, they have probably not sponsored any of my legislation in 9 years. And I give them credit that they're willing to stand true to their convictions. I mean, they believe that rich and powerful men who committed some of the most heinous crimes against underage girls should be held accountable, that our government shouldn't protect them. And they're willing to work in a bipartisan way to get these files released.
Okay, so when it comes to the Epstein files, we have followed the story here for the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
I mean, there are a lot of people that have been following it for a lot longer than us that know more of the details. But one of the things that's become more likely to me in the last, I'd say just like 4 or 5 months even, is, there's all this about the sex trafficking, which is heinous, people that deserve to be named and prosecuted if they were a part of the sex trafficking, especially minors. But I also think that what we're looking at is a much bigger money laundering financial services operation that Jeffrey Epstein had. And I think that is what is tying up or making maybe some members of the federal government less likely to release all the files as they said that they were. I personally believe that there's a lot of very still powerful, still influential people that are tied up in these financial crimes. And in just some of the documents that some members of Congress have got to take a look at, they can see hundreds or thousands of very suspicious transactions, billions of dollars worth of financial transactions. Is that something that you are committing to investigating, like going through it with a fine-tooth comb? Where were all these money transfers coming from? Where were they going? What was the purpose of them? Is that something that you were willing to commit to in addition to obviously investigating the sex trafficking?
Yes, absolutely. Obviously, what hits home for so many people, because you have a 12-year-old or 13-year-old girl, is the Epstein rapes of 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, and all of these powerful men who did that. And that's the most heinous part. But you're right that there are serious allegations about financial crimes and money laundering. Some of it allegations involving foreign entities, and some of them even saying that national security is implicated. I guess the first question is, how does a guy like Jeffrey Epstein become rich? How does he get all that money? Who's paying him? And why are they paying him? Are they just paying him for sex trafficking, or are they people who are trying to get dirt on some of the most powerful people in our society? Where is he getting his funds? What is their motive? All these questions have to be asked. And then some people say, well, why are we obsessed about this? The reason we're obsessed about this is if a government is out there to protect rich and powerful elites, then it's not a government by the people. And what we know is there are hundreds of rich and powerful people who may have engaged in sex trafficking and who may have engaged in gross money laundering that basically have had no accountability. And part of the whole Trump appeal was that he was going to expose this kind of corruption. It's about whose side are you on? Are we going to take back our democracy? And that's why I'm really passionate about this with Thomas Massie, to get all the evidence out and then to investigate and hold accountable both the sex trafficking crimes and the financial crimes.
So I might be ignorant on this, but with the financial aspect at least, is Congress able to subpoena bank records from the 1980s, from the 1990s, and see where some of the early money to Jeff Epstein was coming from without having to access the federal investigation files that are being slow rolled out there?
We can, actually. The Oversight Committee can. Now, the Oversight Committee is controlled right now by a Republican, James Comer. To their credit, Tim Burchett, who is also sponsoring Massie and my bill, just voted or introduced to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell. So she's going to come in, hopefully, to testify. But we should also subpoena these bank records. It's a actually excellent suggestion that I'm going to take up to see if the chairs would do that.
Okay. Big T, Arian, you guys want to
go? My question, I guess, is like, it's fascinating to me why this is, one, not a bipartisan issue, but two, the amount of time it's taking to try to convince any side of an aisle to go forth with this. Like, what is the feel you, I guess, that what is the talk on the Hill of like, why is this so controversial? Like, other than the obvious reasons, is there any other like thing that you can put your finger on?
Look, they're powerful people who don't want to be exposed. Even if they don't get prosecuted, they probably don't want their name out there as having paid Epstein money or having gotten money from Epstein or having been to one of his parties or having been on his plane. That doesn't prove that they've committed a crime, but it just shows that they were tied up with something deeply offensive, shady, and corrupt. And so those people want to be protected, and they have power in this town. And my sense is that they are the ones pushing some members of Congress, some senators, and this White House not to release this. Otherwise, I don't see what the problem is releasing it. And it just seems to me that it should be bipartisan. And I don't think this is going away. I mean, you guys have been following this for 4 or 5 years, but I don't think just so we aren't going to talk about this summer or not going to have a vote, so somehow in August this goes away. I think it's just going to get worse. And this idea that you're shutting down Congress to prevent the files is just going to raise more suspicion of what is there to hide.
After it goes through the House, how confident are you that that it would have to get Senate approval as well, correct?
It would, but I think that would be a huge blow to senators if they voted against it, if it passed in the House. My honest view is if this gets a vote, it would probably be pretty overwhelming in the House. I mean, do you want to be the congressperson says, no, I don't want the Epstein files released? You're probably going to invite a primary challenge in your own congressional district. So I think if we get this passed in the House, you'll get it passed in the Senate. I also think that would pressure Donald Trump to release the files. And that's what I thought initially would happen, that Massie and I'd introduce it. We got a lot of Republican co-sponsors. We'd get the vote, and the files would be released before August recess. There's obviously some reason that they don't want to release this stuff and that they're slow rolling it.
In all fairness, Donald Trump, he can just say he was a Democrat when he was hanging out with Epstein. So kind of shoot yourself in the foot moment. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, I don't understand it from Trump's perspective, because I don't think people are going to be shocked that he was friends with Epstein. I think that's all baked in. Now, obviously, if there's some smoking gun there, then maybe there's a reluctance. But he was calling for the release of these files all through the campaign. J.D. Vance was the biggest champion of releasing these files. He ran for the Senate saying, let's release these files. He ran as the vice president saying, let's release these files. So I assumed they would release the files. And I guess the question is, why not? Who are the powerful interests? Who are the interests that are blocking this file to be released?
My other question I had is the obvious obfuscation of Trump saying and Tulsi Gabbard releasing this Obama news. What is the feel? I haven't gone through the documents myself, And so like I'll do that at some point. But what is the feel, and what has come from that? The releasing
Well,
of those.
it's totally outrageous to accuse Barack Obama of treason. I mean, come on. It was one of the most ethical administrations in modern history. The reality is that Marco Rubio, as the intelligence chair, led an investigation, and it was obvious that Russia in 2016 tried to interfere with the election. But that same report concluded that they were unsuccessful in interfering with the election. So no one is saying that they successfully got Donald Trump elected, but they just were saying that they tried to interfere in the election. And as Americans, we shouldn't want, whether it's Russia or Iran or China, any of these countries to try to interfere in our elections. I don't know why Trump is so sensitive about this, because he's no one is saying he didn't win. They're just saying that the Russians tried to interfere.
Then the other major one, maybe the bigger news, was that he wanted the Commanders to change their name back to the Redskins. What is your stance on that? I feel like that was a question that we used to ask everybody back in the mid 2000s, late 2000s. Would you approve the name being changed back to the Redskins if it meant that all the Epstein documents got released tomorrow?
All right, fine. Like, okay, probably. If it meant all the Epstein documents, that's how Congress works. They put in something to disagree with to get a deal. But I think that in a society we move forward, and the Commanders are a perfectly fine name. I mean, average people, at least in DC, aren't talking about it being a huge issue. They had huge problems, as you know, in the Redskins with the way that operation was run, and it's a clean start. And just let's get over it and not obsess about it. But this is again Donald Trump trying to create a distraction in avoiding the Epstein topic.
He is very good at beating the culture war drum. He can always go back to that well. And
I'm about as progressive as it gets, brother. But when I'm not cool with the name. Cool, change the name, but that logo just does something to me. Maybe that's my nostalgia as a kid, but that I'm okay with bringing back the logo, dog. That was.
Yeah, look, I grew up an Eagles fan. I don't know if you remember the Buddy Ryan teams in the 19. Then and the Redskins and the Giants were our two rivals. So I get it. The nostalgia. I get the sense of wanting to hold on to something, but things in society change. If they want a new logo, fine, let's do a new logo. But Trump is just throwing this stuff out there because he knows that ultimately people really want the Epstein files. But I'll go for that deal. If he's willing to release the Epstein files, and the condition of that is changing the name back, fine.
That's a great deal. Big T, what do you got?
Yeah, so I've got a couple. I'll just ask them back to back, and you can take it however you want. If this bill passes, do we get everything, or is it going to be like a redacted? Like, would we really get the real stuff? And then secondly, how many files do we have on reserve of just all these topics that we can release when we want a different file? So like we're releasing MLK, the Obama thing. What else do we have just on hand that when we want a different set of files, we can release these?
The first question is, yes, we would get all the stuff. Now, we won't get the victims. Obviously, we got to redact that. I mean, you don't want to be putting publicly the names of underage girls who may have been raped or abused or assaulted, that in respect for their privacy. And you don't want any salacious videos of child pornography released. So it protects that, but it protects simply the victims. But interview memorandum, emails, texts that say that some rich and powerful guy was at a party, was on the plane, engaged in inappropriate conduct, paid Epstein money, got money from Epstein, all of that would come out. In terms of these files that are being released, I don't know what more they could do. I mean, my understanding for people who have looked at it on the Dr. King files is like there's not much new there, and maybe they have more files related to the Kennedy assassinations. But again, I think this is all just a distraction from what people really want, which is information about whether rich and powerful people have their thumb on the scale and have way too much control in our government.
Yeah, it's a fair answer.
I have what may be a dumb question. okay, we have Epstein files, and it was data collected by, I'm assuming, the FBI, CIA. I don't know who collects this kind of stuff.
The Epstein files was connected by the FBI, by Justice Department officials. We don't know if national security is implicated and whether the CIA or the NSA were involved. That would be one thing that we'd want to find out from the files.
Okay, so it's collected by the FBI, and if there are crimes that have been committed, why wouldn't they prosecute as soon as they collect the data?
Because you know that there are a lot of times where people may be strongly suspected of a crime, but you can't prove it and you can't prosecute it, and that's particularly tough when it comes to sex trafficking. You have to have a victim who's willing to testify. You have to have the evidence. So a lot of times they may have circumstantial evidence and things where people look at it and say, yeah, they probably did it, but it's not enough to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. It's also an argument for why people don't release this stuff, because you don't want a government just destroying someone's reputation and leaking things if they can't prosecute a crime. And that is a reasonable argument. But in this case, given the stakes, given that people think that there are things beyond even sex trafficking, given that this goes to trust in government, Trump should say, I'm going to honor my promise. We're going to make a one-time exception to the policy of not releasing things if someone's not charged. We're going to put this all out there. And I just ask the American people for fairness. Like, there'll be people mentioned in these Epstein files who may not have done anything wrong, who may just have gotten a donation from Epstein for some foundation or shown up to something Epstein had and not actually engaged in sex trafficking or crimes. And that's fine. But the American people should have the information and then be fair about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because he did do some philanthropy, and so there will be donations that he made. There'll be people that he met with that are close to him that did not do anything illegal or immoral that were connected with him, and you have to be able to separate. So I do understand that perspective. Like if you are running a nonprofit somewhere in Massachusetts and Epstein gave you $500,000 in 2001 for whatever cause you're working on, you probably don't want your organization to be forever linked to Jeffrey Epstein, but the reality is that's the guy that gave you the money, so you're going to be linked. It's a lot to ask to trust the American people to be able to draw all those fine lines and distinctions, but I think it's probably the right answer. I have a couple questions for you about some different topics, if that's okay.
Sure.
I know that you're interested in campaign finance reform, which I think is it's a very boring topic that actually is very impactful on how the country is run, and your stance on super PACs and Citizens United and all that. So are you actively trying to ban super PAC money from all campaign finance at this point?
Yes. I mean, this country is supposed to be a democracy. You have a vote, I have a vote. It's not supposed to be there for millionaires and billionaires to spend millions of dollars to elect people. And let's be honest, it's happening on both sides. Yeah, Elon Musk spent $250 million to get Donald Trump elected. There were billionaires on our side who were spending $100 million to get Kamala Harris elected. I started the No PAC caucus. There are about 10 of us. I don't take a dime of lobbyist money. I don't take a dime of PAC money, and I have no super PAC. And I am introducing a bill to ban these super PACs. And what that would mean is, if someone wanted to give a contribution to a member of Congress or a senator, they can't give more than $3,500. That's the law. So tell me, how does it make sense that Elon Musk, if he wanted to support someone, Thomas Massey, could only give him $3,500? But if Elon Musk wanted to start a super PAC to support Thomas Massey, he could write a $50 million check to that super PAC. It makes no sense. So this bill says you shouldn't be able to give super PACs more money than you can give candidates. We need to abolish them. And it would be one of the biggest things we could do for our democracy, abolishing super PACs and abolishing all PAC money.
So there was a theory that I was reading up on. It's from a guy named Tom Moore at Center for American Progress. And he was talking about Citizens United specifically. The Supreme Court ruling said essentially that corporations are people. His theory is that shareholders could have standing to sue, like shareholders of publicly traded companies could have standing to sue to undo Citizens United for free speech reasons. Is that something that you've ever heard of in your work?
I have. I mean, to say like corporations shouldn't be able to give this money because it's violating what shareholders want, but you'll still have a lot of you'll still have a lot of the rich billionaires just do it as individuals. And so I think it's fine. We should have corporations sue on it, but we've got to figure out how do we stop these rich billionaires from actually engaging in these super PACs. And look, yeah, we want to overturn Citizens United, but that's a long shot. Given this court, it would require a constitutional amendment. Even under Citizens United, you can ban super PACs by just saying that you shouldn't be able to give super PACs more money than you can give a candidate. And I'm working with this guy, Larry Lessig, a Harvard law professor, on this. And it's in the courts right now. It's probably going to go to the Supreme Court. And that would be huge if we could actually pass a law saying you can't give super PACs more money. Maine passed that law, and we should pass that federally.
So you were talking about, some of the billionaires. You represent a very wealthy part of the country, Silicon Valley. There's certainly not everybody there is a Silicon Valley billionaire. There's a lot of people that are working class that live in your district as well. But you represent a lot of people that are, the thought leaders and the preeminent names of Silicon Valley. How weird are these guys?
Well, look, my district is worth $14 trillion. It's surreal. I mean, we've got 5 companies within a 50-mile radius that are over $1 trillion. Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Tesla, and Broadcom. And look, some of these people like Jensen, who's the CEO of NVIDIA, are geniuses. Like I recently met him. He's like, so tell me, what do you think of Maxwell's law? I was like, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've studied physics. It's like, let me tell you, here's what Maxwell's law is. I mean, they're really, they know science, they know technology, they're idiosyncratic, but I think they have 2 responsibilities. One is that they should pay more tax. I mean, the guy who represents all the billionaires is saying tax the billionaires more. I don't understand how this is a hard vote for 34 other members of Congress. And the other thing is we've got to bring these new jobs, not just in my district, but around the country. Like if you're young and given AI, you need to have an opportunity to have some of the new technology jobs, the new wealth generation in your community. And that's what I've been pushing these tech guys to do.
Do you get scared by AI? Because I get scared by AI. I get fooled by it all the time. And it's to the point where it's becoming, almost identical to reality. Some of the videos that you see, some of the audio that you hear. And in fact, I think I hear more from the heads of the companies that are pushing AI about how afraid of AI I should be. And I just keep thinking like, well, dude, you're the one that's doing it. Stop. Just stop that. And I know if it's scary to you, then it's fucking terrifying to me. Are you involved in like any of the future legislation? Do we have a plan at any level in Congress for how we're going to be dealing with this new future that blurs the line of what is real and what isn't?
Well, it's the biggest thing we have to deal with. And unfortunately, we're not doing it yet. But here are a few simple things we should do. Anything that's AI generated should be labeled AI to start out. And that's a bill I have. There should be human decision making. Nothing at the final level should just be decided by a machine. We do need to have AI literacy, like from kindergarten on in our schools, because everyone is going to need to know some AI. And the good thing is now you don't need complex math. You don't need calculus or algebra to understand AI. You just need to have some familiarity with it so that you can use it to be a musician or a nurse or a writer or a sports commentator. We need to have trade schools. A lot of those jobs aren't going to be automated by AI. We've got to have a better tax code that privileges hiring people instead of hiring machines. And we've got to make sure that workers ultimately are protected and not machines. There's got to be a full AI strategy that the country isn't doing now. But look, the AI is not going to take all jobs. Like I don't know about you. I think there's still going to be 20 years from now people playing NFL football, and you're not just going to have AI generated holograms playing football.
Cletus, the Fox Sports robot, that was the start of the tipping point. When he got on TV, I was like, oh, he's coming forever. I don't think anyone can take our jobs because we're so dumb that I don't think anyone would ever program an AI podcaster that would sound as stupid as we do. So we've
I don't
kind
think
of
it's that. You guys are funny. I mean, you've been respectful and serious in our conversation. I've seen some of your other podcasts, and AI is really not great at humor. Like try ChatGPT or Grok. They probably can't match your humor.
Oh, Grok, what is it? Unhinged mode on Grok. Maybe the least funny thing I've ever read online is Elon's chatbot trying to be funny.
Kind of got
just
the same sense of humor.
Curious, behind the scenes in Congress, do you guys get along when you're not on the House floor? Or, you know, you're on the House floor, you're speaking on the record, you're representing your district, you know the cameras are on, you do cable news hits. You know that to a certain element, I see almost every congressperson doing a little bit of political theater to establish themselves and their points of view out there. But behind the scenes, are you guys slapping hands? Are you guys going out for beers together? What is that like in terms of the congeniality? Is that the word? Congeniality?
Yeah.
Between the Republicans and the Democrats?
I think it really depends. I try to not make it personal with people. I try to make it about issues. So, for example, Mike Johnson, I've called him out in pretty tough language this week, saying, you know, why the hell did he adjourn the Congress? And he should have had the Congress there. But Mike Johnson is someone I am friendly with. I've had lunch with his family. He's a person of faith. He's very kind and civil in the hallways. You know, he's a nice person as a human being. And we came into Congress together. So in that case, there is a personal relationship. And, you know, even though I'm calling him out about something that I just disagree with, Thomas Massey and I obviously are friends. But, you know, if I pass Marjorie Taylor Greene or something in the hallway, I try to be collegial with everyone for the most part who I see.
All right. Big
So
T.
I guess that kind of concerns me, right? I think I'd be more comfortable if he was like, nah, fuck them. The reason why is because the political theater that's kind of put on display between Congress folk, our senators, and then even our presidency is to the point now where I believe like leadership should always be, you know, have civil discourse.
Yeah.
Because that leads to civil discourse as it trickles down into our society. Right now, it is a hailstorm, in my opinion. And, you know, you can blame Trump, you can blame whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, I think our leadership, it's kind of the decorum has been lost. And I think there was something to be said about that. Like, even though people had disagreements, it wasn't so publicly ugly. And I think
Totally agree.
and so now that I think our kids are watching, like, oh, that's just how politics work. Where I was growing up, that's not how it was, but now it is. And I think that can lead to a lot of civil unrest in the future. And that's why I said I feel like I'd be more comfortable if y'all was at real odds. But now it's kind of just like, okay, everybody's they doing it just to get votes almost, or to show your constituents, yeah, I'm Billy Badass and I'll take it to the Democrats or I'll take it to the Republicans, rather than just be like, yo, we disagree, but we got to have a civil conversation because we still have to live amongst each other.
Well, I've tried to take the approach of having a civil conversation, and I strongly disagree, but don't insult people. It also makes me go less viral, but it also makes me more effective, right? There's a reason that Thomas Massey is partnering with me, and we've got 11 Republicans on the bill. It's because I haven't insulted all of them, and I've kept it civil. They know that I'm a progressive Democrat. They know that they disagree with me on a number of policies, but I try to model civility. Other folks think, okay, they're hurling insults at you. You've got to be a fighter. You got to hurl insults back at them. But what is that going to achieve? Just hurling insults back and forth. That's not going to actually split MAGA or make Trump release the files. I think it's much better to get where you can through civility.
Are we still doing Greenland? I just remembered about Greenland. It was like a big thing for a little bit. Now I feel like Greenland's probably thinking we forgot about them, like they're home free.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I mean, here's what I thought was so dumb about that whole idea. Like, if you're in the 19th century and you're James Polk, you're like, okay, we got to build American power. We're going to go expand westward and we're going to get more land. And that's how the European countries were. And whoever got the most land and got the most territory was the most powerful. Now, I didn't like it because my grandfather was in jail with Gandhi while the British were colonizing India. But that was basically the mentality of power. Does anyone think like the way to build power in the 21st century, in an age of AI and trillions of dollars in my district with these tech nerds who are basically inventing future apps, like the way we're going to build power is to go take land? It's just so off about what's going to make you a leader and powerful in the 21st century. The way that we're going to build power is by creating new industries, new jobs, new technology across the country, and making sure we're technologically leading China. So I think you threw that out there. I don't think he's going to take over Greenland, but I also think it's not what's going to make America wealthy and powerful.
Okay, what if we give him Greenland, but then we don't change the name to the Redskins? He has to say, "Okay, I like the name Commanders."
You got to run for Congress, buddy.
I'm about deals.
That's how they do things.
I've read The Art of War. We read it. Actually, that's a lie. We led I think it was 6 chapters of it. Learned a lot.
Horrible.
Learned a lot about warfare. Big T, got anything else?
Yeah. I'm the only one of us in here that isn't on the left. All of y'all are all together, and then there's me. So, just broadly,
you're still talking to me. So
yeah. No, you've been great. I just want to ask: Do you think, as a Democratic politician, or what do you think rather of the Democratic Party's messaging, just broadly to like an everyday American? Is there anything you would change about that? And then just real quick at the end, I know you went to the University of Chicago. We're here in Chicago. What's your favorite pizza place in Chicago?
Giordano's when I was there. I don't know if I love the deep dish pizza. And Giordano's when I was there. Uno's is fine, but there are better places. And I know there are new ones now, but I love the deep dish with sausage and pepperoni and onions is my favorite. In terms of the Democratic Party, we spend the whole show on what we need to do better. First, we got to stop being judgmental and lecturing. We can't be telling people, hey, if you tell the wrong joke, you say the wrong word, we're going to cancel you. Second, we got to understand that for a lot of not just young women, but young men, life is hard in their 20s. Like they want to support themselves, support a family. How are we going to be about getting good jobs? How are we going to make it easy for them to provide for their families? How are we going to have a vision of how they can build wealth and economic growth? I think the Democrats haven't spoken clearly enough about how we will help people build economic prosperity, economic security. Third, we've got to be about Team America. It doesn't have to be all about, okay, this thing and that thing. Like, what is our vision for how America is going to be strong, powerful, the greatest country in the 21st century? Fourth, we got to call out the status quo more. Somehow the Democrats became the status quo party. We were the party basically protecting things as they were. And fifth, we have to have a few more fights within our own party. Be willing to call out people in our own of the old guard or people we disagree with. One more, free speech. I'm a big fan of and supporter of free speech, and not be afraid to go not just on podcasts, but I go on Fox News. I go on Ben Shapiro's podcast. I went on Theo Von. We've got to mix it up with folks.
Love that.
Any feedback, Big T?
No, that was great.
Any tips on messaging?
No, I like a lot of what he said. I do have for you. You said ChatGPT, try to get it to write a joke. I did ask ChatGPT to write a joke specifically from me to you, if you'd like to hear it.
All right.
Okay, so keep in mind, this is not my joke. This is from ChatGPT.
It's a robot. Yeah.
Is this gonna be X-rated or it's clean?
No. It's fine. Congressman, I gotta say, you're the only guy I know who can represent billionaires in Palo Alto and endorsed a socialist in Queens in the same week. That's what I call cross-platform compatibility.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. Because it's true that I did endorse Mamdani and I represent billionaires in Silicon Valley. But basically, my view of it is we got to be for innovation, technology, but also having them pay some taxes so everyone can have childcare and healthcare. But yeah, that's pretty funny, actually.
Healthcare would be a great one.
Hey, last question on my end, brother. Where are you at on Congress people and stock trading.
Opposed. I've led the bill to ban it, and I think that, but it's got to be a full political reform package. You look at my reform package; it's ban members of Congress from becoming lobbyists, ban members of Congress from taking PAC money, term limits, ban stock trading, and then ban super PACs, and also have term limits on Supreme Court justices. And maybe I'll end with this point, is that's what the Epstein Files is all about. People think that there's something broken with government, whether you're on the right or the left. They think that the government is working too much for rich and powerful people who have their thumb on the scale, and they want it cleaned up. And they keep voting for change. Whether it's Obama, Trump, everyone who promises change gets the American people to vote for them, and then they get frustrated and they keep saying, no, it's not enough change. So at some point, we've got to clean this place up and have real change. And that's where I think the populism of even the right and the left can meet to have change.
All right. I hope you're right. I hope you get this bill passed. I hope that the Senate, when you do pass it through the House, I hope that the Senate doesn't get scared. And I hope they pass it too. And then I hope it gets released. And then I hope the American public sees what's in them and actually reads the files and figures out who we can no longer trust, who should be in jail, and try to clean some of this up. At this point, I'm almost convinced that it's not going to happen just because there's too many powerful people that have too much of an interest in not letting out there. But I hope that I'm wrong about that too. But I think this is a good first step, and good luck with your bill. And have a fun vacation.
We'll keep fighting.
Enjoy your 6+ weeks off that Speaker Johnson gave you.
Huh?
Enjoy the 6+ weeks off. That
Seriously. Well, I'm going to be working to try to get more and more co-sponsors for this bill for the 6 weeks, and you're speaking out about it will help.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking this step, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that was Ro. I don't know if I can call him Ro. Congressman Khanna. Don't Ro me if you don't know me. I don't know. I don't know what I should call him, but
basis.
Yeah. Listen, any sitting congressman, open invitation.
And hopefully he reduces our federal prison rate of congressman guests from 100 to 50.
Yep, that would be nice. Who is your white whale in Congress right now?
So it's actually, I don't know if he's a white whale. He'd probably come on. A guy he mentioned, Tim Burchett, was the mayor of Knoxville while I was in school, and then later became the congressman for Knoxville, and I like him a lot.
All right, come on, part of my take to discuss.
Or Macro.
Oh, what? Fuck! I said part of my take.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my bad. I looked at.
Who is she?
I looked at
what's her name, Eric?
I looked at a part of my take tweet as I was saying that. Sometimes you read shit and you go, yeah, this is like I was calling out somebody else's name during sex.
Yeah, bro, that hurt.
My bad. Come on, Macrodosing. Bleep out the name of that podcast. They suck. They're not even top 100 podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody
They could never be tennis.
Yeah. The tennis podcast. Come on, Macrodosing
Right.
to discuss.
I'd understand if we lost him to the tennis podcast.
Yeah,
but-
that's probably
that's
what he's
fair.
doing
That's a fair
right
point.
now. Okay, so we got Tim Burchett, Lauren Boebert. Sup? So, you want to say sup to her, Arian? I know she might not be old enough for you.
Don't remember what she looks like. Let me look at her
Okay.
real quick. Hold on.
She was the one that was doing hand stuff during Beetlejuice. Vaping and doing hand stuff during Beetlejuice the musical.
I mean,
I think she's fucking Kid Rock.
yeah, nah, this is not.
What
I'm
were
straight.
you about to
Really?
say, Mad Dog,
I-
that you did not say? Mad Dog took
I just think it's
she
funny.
took a deep breath and almost spoke and then thought better of it.
I hope love wins.
I did not expect that reaction from you, Arian.
She don't really. Why you say that?
Just from what I know, she seems like you would have been more into it.
Nah, she's my age. She's not. She's 38. We the same age.
Oh, she's just
I like-
not old
I
enough.
I like older women. Yeah, I like older women. Like this is no secret. Bro.
No, I know that, but she's not, way younger or anything.
She's my age. Like if you my age, I mean, gotta have something to you. I don't see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, stand out. All right, anyone, Arian, any congressional requests? I've made mine. Big T has made his.
I want all these blood sucking leeches on the show.
Okay.
Bring them all on.
AOC, yeah.
Yeah, bring it on.
Corey
Bring it on to
Mills. Love to talk to Corey Mills.
I think he's a senator. The Kentucky, Andy.
He is
Bashir?
neither.
It's governor.
He
What
is
is
the
he?
governor.
Governor
Oh, he's the
Bashir.
governor. Sorry. I like his vibe.
Governor Bashir. What about governors? Open invite to governors as well?
Some.
Yeah, some. I think that there are some we don't need to hear from.
Like who?
I was just thinking about states, not about individuals.
I was thinking about
you had a lot to
but there are
say
states
about
too.
Texas in general, man.
Huh?
You don't like Austin and Houston was in your top 5 least cities you liked. I think that.
That is true. Houston was number 5. I don't like Houston. I like the food in Houston. Great food. The food makes up for a lot of other stuff there, but
I'm not gonna bang for Houston. I just found the issue. The Austin surprised me.
Austin was number 1 because I don't think anyone should ever want to move there. If you're thinking about moving to Austin, you should not. It's bad. You're not going to like it. Don't. Just please, for the love of God, please, nobody else move there.
I got you.
Yeah, it's just.
I didn't catch that.
No,
on the
it's
list.
terrible.
I
It's
just
an
saw the
awful
list.
city.
I got you.
Awful city that I was
Got
just
you.
in last weekend. Had some terrible, awesome tacos.
My brother lives there. He hates
Yeah,
it.
everyone hates it.
Yeah.
Everyone.
It's just
Libs.
horrible.
Everyone
Everywhere.
hates Austin. Bad city. If you hate the libs, it's not for you. But guess what? If you are a lib, you got to deal with Elon.
And it's
You got to
Texas.
deal with Elon there
And Rogan.
and Rogan. A lot of guns. So it's really not for.
Yeah,
It's not for anyone.
Shane Gillis lives there.
Yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah. No one likes that guy. So yeah, stay far away from Austin, Texas. There are a bunch of billboards on the drive from the airport that just say like "Thank you, Elon."
No way.
We love you, Elon. And there's no name attached to it,
Yeah.
which made me think maybe Elon put those billboards
When
up.
you have money, they let you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he might have done that. Also,
I bought a billboard once.
really?
$10,000.
For how long?
It was like 2 months or something like that.
What did it say?
It was my album cover, my first album.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was dope. Yeah, I have a video of it going up, like time lapse. It was dope.
Did you see any uptick in downloads from that?
No, that's not why I did it. No, I just sometimes when you're rich, you want to do rich shit.
Sure.
That was some rich shit I did.
But
Yeah.
but I'd
It
be
was-
interested to know, like, $5,000 a month. That's what, like, $200 a day.
Yeah.
Like, I bet that's actually not a bad, like, rate of return.
I didn't even think to check. It was just like, you know what? I want a billboard.
Where was it?
Right off 59.
Did you get to
Like,
pick
so
which
59.
billboard you got?
Well, yeah. You pick like, yeah, I want this one, and then you call them, and they'll be like, this is our rate, yada yada, and I'm like, okay. And then they help you out with like, okay, what do you want? What's the dimensions? Yada yada yada. Yeah.
I've never seen a billboard being changed,
I have.
like in person.
Really?
I've seen it in TV,
I've seen guys up there.
movies. Never seen a guy putting a new billboard up or taking an old billboard down.
I've seen them up there.
I was convinced for a long time that just there was some magic going on.
I mean, most of them are electronic now.
That's true. My favorite ones are: does advertising work? Just did.
Yeah.
Call this number to get a billboard. It's a great.
One time I was driving long distance, and there was one of those like, do you have any questions about God? And I called it. We had like a long conversation. It was cool.
Yeah, if you drive through, like, North Georgia, East Tennessee, you'll get a lot of just repent in giant letters.
Mm-hmm. Billboards for Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, they get like exponentially more aggressive, like the deeper south you go.
Oh, there's some in East Texas. You ever been through like Vidor, Texas, Arian?
Can't say that. I have.
Yeah, I would personally not advise you or really anyone to spend that much time there.
But especially you.
But especially you. But especially you. There's a long sordid history in that town, and there's billboards up talking about like these people murdered so and so, got away with it.
Damn.
There's like I think 2 or 3 billboards as you drive through that town. They did not like my long hair when I stopped in Vidor, Texas at one point in a gas station. It felt like I was in the year 1961. What are you? What's up with your hair? You some kind of hippie?
I went to a Subway in West Virginia one time. It was when I played it in the pro-am for at Greenbrier for the live tournament. That was an interesting experience. It's like everything that I thought about West Virginia was in that motherfucker. Like there was a dude with a mullet in there. Oh, big buddy with a wife beater on, a dirty wife beater on, waiting in line. I was like, yo, this is West Virginia.
It's interesting you say that because when I was a kid, I played in a baseball tournament in Cooperstown, New York. So we drove from Atlanta to Cooperstown and we spent the night in West Virginia. And West Virginia was probably the place that I've been that was, I would say, the most similar to exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah. It's everywhere I drove through or stopped at in that place is exactly that. I was like, yo, this is like a stereotype heaven.
It's where your favorite white person's from.
Yeah.
Nick from there?
Yep.
Yeah, Nick and KV are from Wheeling.
Wow, I'd have never guessed that.
Yeah.
Wheeling is like a different spot.
It's glorified, or I guess less glorified Pennsylvania.
It's also just really strange. It's one of the most unique cities in the United States that people don't really know that much about. It's like, it's all over the map. I think there's like a Buddhist temple there, like a big one. The Greenbrier is near where the shadow government used to be. So in the event of a nuclear strike against Washington, D.C., they would try to get all the important people out ahead of time. And if they lost, they would like put everyone in different locations. But there was a shadow government that was supposed to go out to West Virginia that would take over in case we lost, like the head of the military, the head of the State Department, the president, vice president, Speaker of the House, Congress. They had like a bunker out there. I think they might have been at the Greenbrier, if not nearby.
That is a beautiful course.
Yeah.
Unreal. Unfucking real.
All right. Well, that is Macrodosing for today. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, be back for Nanodosing.
For all of you out there that applied for your master's tickets, you recently got an email
Lost
that
again.
Lost.
said you were not selected this year. I did too. So keep trucking. Keep on plugging, man. We're gonna get it.
I was actually, I don't know why. I was very convinced that I was going to win this year. I think because like in my head I was like, I think I'm gonna win and that's gonna be my bachelor party, and I just had it in my brain that I was gonna win, and I was like really disappointed when I didn't, which was nonsense because you're never gonna win. But
yeah, I signed up just on the strength.
Yeah.
I had no.
I really thought I had it this year.
Damn, I feel bad for you. Man.
Yeah, it sucks.
All right. See you guys next week. Sorry that you lost the Masters tickets. Love you guys.